So now we're going to start talking about deductions or taxes that come out. We will not be talking about all of the taxes, we'll just be generalized. We're going to talk about 3 different categories. Federal taxes, that will be federal income tax. Employee FICA tax, this is your Social Security and your Medicare, and then voluntary deductions. These are things that you want to have taken out of your paycheck. So the formula is I calculate my gross pay, I minus all my deductions, and whatever that is, it equals my net pay. And my net pay is also called what I take home, or my take-home pay. So federal law requires that we actually withhold federal income tax. And this is the tax that you possibly could get a refund on at the end of the year when you file your taxes. And in order to calculate that, I need to know the total earnings, I need to know the marital status, and I need to know how many withholding allowances are claimed, and how often do I pay. So I need to know these 4 things in order to calculate withholding allowances. In order to calculate federal income tax. So there's actually a W-4 form that you would fill out that would give that all this information would actually go on there. And this is how the employer knows how to withhold it. So let's take a look. So here Ken is married and he claims 4 allowances. His gross earnings are $545 for the week. And we know that he's paid weekly. So we're going to take this information to the chart. And here it is an example of the chart. So this is married person, so I need to know whether you're single or married. I'm paid weekly, so here's my weekly payroll period. There's one for his monthly, there's one for bi-weekly. Now I know that withholding is 4, his withholding allowance is 4, and he's at $545, so it would be at least $540, but less than $550. So it's in this category. So 14 would be the actual amount that would be his taxes for a federal income tax. So you always want to make sure first you find the row where he's in, then you find the column of how many withholdings, then you determine the actual amount of the withholding. So that is for federal income tax withholding. The employer just doesn't make it up, they actually work off of a chart. Next taxes we're going to look at are called FICA taxes. This involves Social Security and Medicare, and it stands for Federal Insurance Contributions Act, because you are actually contributing. So this money here, the FICA, Social Security, and Medicare, is your money that you will pay into Social Security and Medicare. Right now, here are the percents. Social Security is 6.2% on all earnings up to this. Right now for 2020, the actual amount is about $140,000 now, because every year it goes up. And Medicare is 1.45% on all earnings, and there is no maximum. So only Congress can actually change this. So we're going to take these percents times the gross pay to figure out Social Security and Medicare. Here's Sarah. She had $2,000 for earnings, and that brought her earnings to $109,240. So first of all, I have to look at her year to date, because if I've not yet reached the $110,100, then all of this would actually be taxed. Okay, once I reach the max amount, I no longer have to pay, she no longer has to pay Social Security. So here we go. So 2,000 times 6.2% is 124, and 2,000 times 1.45% is $29. So her total taxes are $153. This is her money being paid into that. Now let's look at what would happen if she was over the max for FICA. Or we'll look at another. So this employee earns $1,860, and that will bring her year to date over $111,100. So what you need to do is figure out how much over they are. And so I take the year-to-date earnings, and by the way, this is the year-to-dates after the pay of $1,860. So 1,000 of it is not taxable, only the $860. And so what I'm only going to do is tax it at 6.2% times 860, and only Social Security. Medicare doesn't have a maximum. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Here's my gross pay. Here's my tax rate. There's my Medicare tax. Okay, so this, I'm going to stop here, and these are the employee taxes. The next video will talk about voluntary deductions.